Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon the time that you're joining me today. I'm so excited that you're here because I want to talk about stress. And the reason that I want to talk about stress is because at some point in our life, we're all going to be under some amount of stress. There are a lot of responsibilities for us on a day-to-day basis, not to mention the unwritten expectations that society places on us, our job places on us, and other titles that we have placed upon us. And so I want to talk about how you can handle stressful situations and be under stress and go through that with grace. So today I'm going to identify how I personally get through stress and share that with you. So the first thing that I do is I take care of myself. Okay. The best thing that you can do is make sure that you're putting yourself as a priority. And I know it's a kind of a played out saying, but as you think about the airplane, when you're on an airplane and if the plane were to go down, the first thing that they ask you to do is to be sure to put your air mask on yourself and then on other people. Now, there's a really good reason for that. And the reason is if you try to put it on your children or the person next to you or your spouse, you may pass out before you even get it on them, and then it's therefore not on you. But in return, if you're able to put it on you, then now you have the opportunity to maybe help more people. And so the truth that goes for life too, right? The more that we can take care of ourselves, the more that we can be able to help other people. And so it's really important that we are taking care of ourselves and prioritizing our self-care, because if we don't, we're going to struggle through life, and stress is going to ultimately take over our life. So the first thing I do when I'm trying to do self-care activities is I make sure to rest. Our body needs rest. And us constantly being go, 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 go is not going to allow for time for us to get the true rest that we both deserve, and more importantly, that we probably desire. I know it is tempting when a lot of things are going on and a lot of things are vying for your attention and you have a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight to carry. It's tempting to want to go, 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 because you feel like the more you go, the more that you'll get done, and then you'll be less stressed later. But what it actually does is it contributes to your stress. You're more inclined to feel extremely stressed because you're not getting the rest and the recovery that your body needs. Another way to take care of yourself would be like exercise. Your body needs to get moving. It's not a good thing when you sit in front of a desk 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and you're never standing up, you're never moving around. Our bodies are made to move. And so there's a lot of different exercise options that you can do. You can do yoga, you can do strength training, you can do cardio, you can do plyometrics, you can do a lot of different things. If you look at your local gym, there's often a lot of classes that are offered. And so, exercising is something new to you. Consider taking a class. You don't really have to think about anything other than getting up and going and then following directions. But it takes the pressure off of you trying to figure out what to do so that you can just listen to someone else. Another thing that I do when I'm exercising, and this maybe goes for people that don't want to go to a gym, don't have time, maybe don't have extra money in their budget, the gym doesn't have a sitter and you need to watch your children, you can consider looking up different exercise videos on YouTube. I look up Pop Sugar, and they have brief exercise videos, 10, 15 minutes. And the neat thing that I've learned about exercise recently is if you get your heart rate up for about 10 to 15 minutes, it's just as effective as if you get it up over time. But the goal is to get your heart rate up, get moving, get blood pumping, and then you're going to naturally start to feel better, because exercise creates those natural endorphins, which are natural feel goods. And so that's really important. Also, nourishment, right? We can't put water in our gas tank and expect our car to go. And therefore, we can't feed our body crap and continue to think that we're going to drive through our day. You have to fill your body with positive things, with good things, the things that your body needs, so that you have the energy to get through your day. Another part of self-care is gratitude. Your mind is so important, and your mindset really controls your life. If you have a negative mindset, you're going to see a negative outlook on life. If you have a positive mindset, you're going to have positive experiences in life. And a lot of people miss that. A lot of people really believe that what's happening to them is happening to them. They don't understand that it's a reflection of your mindset and a reflection of the thought process that you have. And so I work on mindset a lot. I cannot tell you how important it is. And I actually learned this in 2 places. I learned it from my personal trainer, who always tells me, it's not your muscles, it's your mind. Your muscles can do it. Your mind is what doesn't believe it can. And I had an experience with him where he wanted me to lift a Hexie bar with a crap ton of weight. I want to say there was almost 100 pounds on it. And I'm like, I can barely lift the bar alone. There's no way I'm going to be able to lift it with, 50 pounds on each side. And he was like, oh no, your muscles are very capable of it. It's your mind that has allowed yourself to believe that you can't do it. And so he got down really low and he squatted with me and he looked at me face to face, eye to eye. And he said, it's mind over matter. You got this. And I promise this was crazy, but I leaned down to lift that Hexie bar and I did it. And it really made me see that our mindset can be our biggest barrier. And so it's so important that we're feeding our mind with positive things and we're reinforcing, optimism into our lifestyle and into a daily practice. The second place that I learned mindset work was my business coach, right? She always told me, like, if you don't believe in your business and you don't believe success matters and you don't believe that you can reach people, you won't. But when you shift that perspective, it opens up a lot of doors that you wouldn't expect. And so when I was in the beginning stages of my business, I wanted it really bad, but I couldn't figure out why it wasn't going the way I wanted. And ultimately what I found out was that my mind was in the way. My mindset was really lacking. And so I started making mindset a daily practice. And so here's a couple ways that I take care of myself through mindset. I practice gratitude. So every morning I wake up and identify 5 things I'm grateful for. And if I remember, sometimes I fall off, I try to do it at night. But I want to constantly be focusing on the good things that are happening, not the things that I'm worried about or the things that are bothering me. And so I implement gratitude. I write affirmations. So I affirm myself daily, reminding myself why, life is important, why I'm continuing to go forward, why I'm important. And then finally, I do a lot of mindfulness activities. And so I try to slow down for the day. I look around and I see different things in my environment and I just try to take it in and slow down. A lot of times in order to speed up, you have to slow down. And we have this mentality that it's go, 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 go. And while life feels that way and kind of reinforces that idea, you have to slow down. I have noticed that I am much more effective when I've taken time to rest, to meditate, to be more mindful, and to really just slow myself down. I'm ultimately more productive later because I've given myself a chance to regroup, to refocus, and to start again. Okay? So again, the first step is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. The second step is to take your power back. A lot of times we're stressed because we're under a lot of pressure from the to-do list and from life things that are happening to us, from trauma, from heartbreak, from depression, from anxiety. And that weighs on our body. And ultimately, the long-term impact of stress is terrible. You deal with a lot of health conditions and bone problems and depression and anxiety. And so there's nothing good that comes from stress. Sometimes I'll have clients that will try to share with me well, I work better under stress. It's still not healthy for your body. And so you have to find a new way to work that doesn't do that. And the truth is, a lot of people who say they work better under stress have come to a point of normalizing it. Stress is not helpful for us. And so to get rid of that, we have to take our power back. So in order to take your power back, I want you to think of the situation that is causing you stress. Maybe it's a job experience that has really put you under a lot of stress, leading you to depression and anxiety. What can you change about that environment? So maybe it's a coworker that's really bothering you and you choose not to actively engage with her because she's going to cause confrontation or battles. Maybe for you, it's the hours of your schedule and it's conflicting with some things that you need to be doing with your children. And so taking your power back would look like applying for a new job, advocating for yourself and asking your boss, can you come in earlier and leave earlier? That sort of thing. Figure out what ways you can take power back. A lot of times when we're under a lot of stress, it's tempting to feel like you have no control or you have no power in the situation. And I'm here to challenge that belief. There's always something that we could be doing that could benefit us. There's always something that you could be doing that could benefit you. And so consider that. Maybe it's a recent divorce that you went through that's really, really stressing you out and tearing you apart. Consider what part of that do you have control over. So you might have control over not checking your ex's social media. You may have control over not talking to your children about it so you're not putting them in the middle of it. You may have control over implementing self-care. So even though you feel like you're losing yourself, you're still taking care of yourself in the process and eventually will start to feel more uplifted. Okay? There's a lot of ways that we have power. And if we continue to play victim, we will continue to stay in the place of a victim. And there's nothing good or healthy about staying victim. And so it's really important that you guys are considering in what areas you have power and figure out how to take that power back. Maybe you're on a, really tight schedule and it's causing you a lot of stress. Ask yourself, what can you remove from it? There was a point where I had so many responsibilities last month that I could not take it. So my daughter was in honors orchestra, which required practice twice a week. Both of my girls are in gymnastics. Both of my girls are in Girl Scouts. One of my daughters has a small group. And so for me, I had all of these after school responsibilities, and I'm like, I can't get my evenings back to save my life. And so these were great commitments. So I didn't want to take her out of honors orchestra because it's something she really wanted to do. And they've been in Girl Scouts and committed to it. So I didn't want to take that away. I also didn't want to take away gymnastics. They really like it. It's a good outlet. It's healthy. It's moving your body. So I took some time to contemplate, like, what area do I have power in? And that was asking for support. So one of the things that I did is I reached out to another mom whose daughter's in honors orchestra and in my daughter's Girl Scouts. And I said, like, is there a way that we can support each other through this? Like, she just had a brand new baby. I'm extremely busy. What can we do to support each other? And so we agreed that, one of us would take the girls to the event and the other one would pick them up, because I was spending an hour sitting at Girl Scouts and an hour sitting at honors orchestra because there was nowhere else to go. It didn't make sense to drive all the way back home because by the time I got home, I'd be back on my way there. And so that saved a ton of time in my day. That gave me back an hour of things that I could do. I also took time to find out that behind my daughter's Girl Scouts or behind my daughter's gymnastics was a track. And so I took time to start walking on that track. So that was a way for me to move my body and add an exercise to my day while kind of being busy, but making the most of it. And so that's a way that I took back power. There's a lot of ways that you can take power. You just have to slow yourself down enough to figure out where you can take back that power. And it allows you to remember that you can make changes in your life, which leads me to the third step that you need to reduce stress, which is to create a life you love. I talked about this in a recent video, but I see so many people living by default. And what I mean by that is they wait for life to tell them what's going to happen to them. They wake up in the morning and they wait for the day to throw things at them. They wake up, with different emotions and they allow their emotions to control their life. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to live by default, that you can actually design your life. And what I mean by that is be intentional about what you're working towards. Be intentional about what you're aiming at. So instead of waking up and saying like, all right, I'm just going to let life throw things my way, and then before you know it, you're really stressed, wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to wake up and be intentional by doing this, this, and this. So, for example, maybe you're working on saving money because finances have been a big part of your stress level. And so you say, you know what? Instead of just waking up and, wondering how the day is going to go and what life is going to throw at me, you can wake up and say, I'm going to meal prep for my day today, or I'm going to pack my breakfast so that I'm not tempted to buy it, or I'm going to intentionally drive a different route to work so I'm not stopping at Panera. Whatever it may be, do you notice the difference between that? So one person wakes up and just goes about their day, and before they know it, they're buying from the vending machine. They stopped at Starbucks and Panera, maybe even Target on their lunch break. But another person is waking up and saying, you know what, I'm going to avoid these things, or I'm going to implement these things that allows you to really shift your day. For example, I had to do this a lot of times when I would go to court for my divorce. I could wake up and be really anxious and emotional and really frustrated and say like, oh my gosh, these terrible things are happening to me and I'm so sad and I'm so down. But I chose to wake up with intention. And so I used to wake up and write out goals and things that I wanted to do. And I would wake up and write down a self-care activity that I had to abide by or promise myself to implement that day. So it would be simple things like, you know what, I'm going to go get my eyebrows done, or I'm going to go get a pedicure at the end after court, or I am going to make sure that I take a warm bath or sign up for a massage or go out to dinner with a friend, that sort of thing. So I didn't wait for the day to go bad, get emotional in court, and then leave court all emotional and go home and lay in bed with the blankets over my head crying because I was so depressed and stressed. I woke up, set the intention for the day, and it allowed me to go through the day with success. Now, you can implement these steps. And I promise there's still going to be moments where you feel under stress. There's still going to be moments where you might fall short. That's okay. But the more you practice implementing these steps, the more you're going to be able to reduce your stress. Because a lot of the things that we talked about, like self-care, planning your day, recognizing your power, when you do the opposite of that. So if you don't take care of yourself, or you don't take back your power, or you don't plan your day, you're going to have more stress. That's what's contributing to your success. So when you're able to implement that, that starts to release some of the stress that you're under and just allow you to move with purpose and allow you to go after your day with success and with intention. And so I'm going to challenge you today to implement these steps. Do not wait for some arbitrary day like New Year's or Monday or Sunday, or till you feel like it, or until everything's aligned and all the ducks are in a row. Start it today. And it can start off with something small. It can start off with implementing a self-care practice. It can start off with taking a part of your power back today. It can start off with planning your day like we discussed. It can start off with meditation or affirmations or anything like that. But I challenge you to implement a step starting today and continue to build on that. And watch the stress that you are under feel less and less. You deserve to move with peace. You deserve to have joy. And when you are constantly living under stress, unfortunately, you won't find it. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing these stories, because I feel like everyone should be armed with this information so that they're not constantly dealing with it and ultimately leading to worse issues such as depression and anxiety. So try the steps today. Comment below and let me know how you're feeling, what's worked, what's helped. Also, if you know someone that can be blessed by this, share the video. Sharing is caring. And sharing is caring. And if you have not already, hit subscribe and like below so that you can continue to get more information from me as I continue to share more tips and strategies with you guys. Until next time, I will chat with you guys later. Bye.